Hey folks, my name is Tom Vasel. I'm the president of the Dice Tower Network. The Dice Tower Network is made up of a bunch of podcasts and video shows that are about board games and card games. And from this network and from other reviewers and podcasters and bloggers who are really enthusiastic about board games, we made the Dice Tower Awards, and this has been going on for many years now, the Dice Tower Awards, and each year we look at all the board games and card games that came out over the course of the year, and we tell you which ones, in our opinion, are the best. And we're pleased to announce the nominations for the best games from 2013. Now, before I go over some of these games that we've nominated, there's a couple things I'd like to talk about. First of all, if you'd just like to take a look at the text version and picture version of this, there will be a link in the description below the video here, which will take you there, and you can just look over the different categories. Secondly, we've added some new categories this year. Some of the new categories that we added were the best two-player game. A lot of people ask about two-player games. We added the best cooperative game, since that has become a genre which is very popular. The best strategy game, which is a game that you might want to play with someone who's a die-hard gamer and wants to play a lot of games with strategy in them. And so I'm going to go over these in just a second, but I also want to talk about the process. Now, right now, we have over 60 members in this committee. And like I said, they're from people who like all sorts of games, from the Euro games to thematic games from America to abstract strategy games, all sorts of different games, card games. And what we do is each year, at the beginning of the year, we start taking a look at the previous year. The games that we nominate are games that come out in English in the last year, which in this case is 2013. Now, sometimes there's, some waffling and fudging because games come out near the very end of the year or come out at the very beginning of the year, and so we take a close look and see exactly which ones fit. Sometimes you'll say, oh, I thought that game came out in 2012. Well, maybe it did, but it wasn't available in English till 2013. Or it came out in a very small, limited print. One of our games, the best game of the year, Trains, came out in a very small Japanese print run, but this year came out from AEG in a much more wide release, which is why we're nominating it in 2013. So we take these, everyone just nominates any game they can think of. We just have piles and piles of games. We then take that list of games and we vote on it, and we narrow it down to 5 games in each category, except for Game of the Year, in which we have 10 games of each category. I am pleased as punch with the list that we have here. Any of these games are good games that you can go check out. I may not like all of them, but this list isn't about me, and that's the next thing I want to say, is that this is not a Tom Vasel's best of lists. I do enough of those lists already. I have no input. In fact, I don't even vote on these, except if there's a tie, then I get to break the tie. That's my one thing I get to do. So that I don't have a lot of input into the game, into the award process, except I kind of guide it and help decide what games go in each category. But this is a list that's voted on by other people. Now, in July, for the next couple months, all the Dice Tower people on the Dice Tower Awards are going to be playing these games and thinking about which ones we want to vote on. And in July, at the Dice Tower Convention in Orlando, Florida, we're going to announce there which games won the Dice Tower Awards. And so we look forward to that. But like I said, the nomination list, I think, is absolutely fantastic. So with that being said, let's get to the nomination list. First of all, we have Best Reprint. This is where an older game is taken and reprinted by a company, sometimes changes. And this is something that we discuss in the group because occasionally a reprint is changed so much that it actually is basically a whole new game. But the best reprints are Downfall of Pompeii, Incognito, Ogre, Pinata, and Warhammer Disc Wars. Okay, those are the 5 nominees for Best Reprint. And I'm going to do this quickly because I don't want to drag this video out too long. So again, like I said, you can go and look at the list of these games at the link below. For the best party game, a game that you can bring into a party, and everyone always argues over what exactly constitutes a party game. Well, this is what we say does. Bang the Dice Game, Going, Going, Gone, One Night Ultimate Werewolf, Rampage, and Tapple. For best artwork, now in this award, we're not taking a look at the miniatures or the bits or the components of the game. We're taking a look at just the art involved in the game. And we have Dixit Origins, Eldritch Horror, Lewis and Clark, Pathfinder the Adventure Card Game, Rise of the Rune Lords, and Rampage. And then best components. Now this is not the artwork, this is everything else. the miniatures that are in the game, maybe the wooden pieces, the plastic bits, the graphic layout of the game. Best components, we have Battle Lore 2nd Edition from Fantasy Flight Games, Forbidden Desert from Game Reprint Games, Kemet from Matago and Asmodee, Rampage, and Relic Runners from Days of Wonder. Then the best two-player game. Now for best two-player games, we picked two-player games that we feel should be played as two-player games. So if a game says 2 to 6, it usually won't make this list. There may be a game or two on here that says 2 to whatever, but we feel is best played as a two-player game. So you have two people. These are the games we think are best played. The Duke, Battle Lore 2nd Edition, Pixel Tactics 2, Targi, and Tashkalar Arena of Legends. Then a new category, the best cooperative game, a game where everyone works together against the game. This is something I'm very excited about. I like cooperative games, and some people thought, oh, there's not enough cooperative games. This is a list that was winning, I think, from 15 different possible games. The best cooperative games of 2013, Eldritch Horror, Forbidden Desert, Freedom, The Underground Railroad, Pathfinder, a venture card game, Rise of the Rune Lords, and Police Precinct. Then we have the best strategy game. These are games that people, like I said, you want to play with someone, very strategic games. The 5 nominees are Bruges from Z-Man Games, Caverna, Freedom, The Underground Railroad, Lewis and Clark, and Russian Railroads. Then the best expansion. Games are great. We like playing games. But what makes the game better? Now, these expansions are voted on how good the expansion is, not how good the base game is. My favorite game is Cosmic Encounter, but I don't always vote for the Cosmic Encounter expansions to be the best one. I want to see an expansion that takes the base game and just makes it much better. The nominees are Galactic Orders, that's an expansion for Core Worlds, Scoundrels of Skullport, an expansion for Lords of Waterdeep, Dark City, an expansion for Marvel Legendary deck building game, In the Lab, an expansion for Pandemic, and Suburbia Incorporated, an expansion for Suburbia. Then the best new designer. Now, this is often a little confusing, people, so let me explain. The best new designer goes to a designer who has made a great game, and it's their first or second published game. And we did that because sometimes a designer's first game is some small little print run that didn't get to see the light of day, and their second game is actually kind of their first game. So the best new designer, this is either their first or second game. We have Cedric Chabosit, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, who did Lewis and Clark. Jamie Stegmaier and Alan Stone for Euphoria, Build a Better Dystopia. Brian Meyer for Freedom, The Underground Railroad. Rustin and Nina Hansen and Einar and Robert Rosen, again I apologize if I mispronounced those, who did Nations. And Matthew Dunstan for Relic Runners. Then the best family game. This is the game that we think you should play with your family. Some people call these casual games. We call them family games. Forbidden Desert. Going, Gone from Stronghold Games. Rampage. Rise of Augustus. And Steam Park from Yellow or Cranio Creations. Then the best game from a small publisher. Small publisher is a publisher with 5 or less games. And we want to encourage small publishers. We want to see innovation in the industry, and small publishers are often where that is. So here we have from Red Raven Games, 8-Minute Empire Legends. We have 2 games, 2 nominees are from the same company, Stonemaier Games, Euphoria, Build a Better Dystopia, and Viticulture. From Dice Hate Me Games, the Great Heartland Hauling Company. And from Kayal Games, Francis Drake. Just as a clarification, Francis Drake was distributed in America by Eagle Griffin Games, but the company that produced it is a newer company, Kayal Games. Then most innovative games. We want to see changes. We want to see games that bring something new to the table. So the 5 nominees here are Freedom, The Underground Railroad, Going, Gone with its live auctions, Kemet, which had a unique blend of building and attacking other people, Pathfinder, the adventure card game, Rise of the Rune Lords, which brought role-playing to a card game on the table, and Rampage, which allowed you to drop monsters, basically took the video game Rampage and brought it to a board game form. Then we have the best theming. This is my favorite category. This is not the best theme. This isn't where we vote for, oh, I like space or I like trading. We pick a game that brings its theme to life, a game where the theme comes to the forefront. And for the 5 nominees for this category are Eldritch Horror, Freedom, The Underground Railroad, Lewis and Clark, Police Precinct, and Rampage. And then finally, Game of the Year. 10 different games here. There's actually 2 games here that didn't make any of the other nomination lists, but I think it's a good mix of games. And for Game of the Year, we have Bruges from Z-Man Games, designed by Stefan Feld. Caverna from Lookout or Mayfair Games, designed by Uwe Rosenberg. Concordia from Rio Grande Games, designed by Matt Gertz. Eldritch Horror from Fantasy Flight Games, designed by Corey Kineska and Nikki Valens. Freedom, the Underground Railroad from Academy Games, designed by Brian Mayer. Forbidden Desert from Game Right Games, designed by Matt Leacock. Pathfinder, the adventure card game Rise of the Rune Lords, designed from Paizo Publishing, designed by Chad Brown, Tanis O'Connor, Paul Peterson, Mike Selenker, and Gabby Weidling. Rampage from Asmodee and Repost Productions, designed by Antoine Baza and Ludovic Mablanc. Russian Railroads from Z-Man Games, designed by Helmut Ole and Lonnie Orgler. And Trains from AEG, designed by Hisashi Hayashi. I'm really, really pleased, folks, with these games. And we love to hear feedback on which games you think should win the awards. And it'd be curious to see. But I think this is a great slate of games. I take this list. The list is on our website, like I said. And go out and play these. These are a fantastic slate of games. My congratulations to all the designers and all the publishers. And for the rest of you, go out and have fun gaming.